Always nice to have you back. And tonight is an important, monumental day. First debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. To start off the conversation, what are you looking out for tonight?
I think it needs to focus on policy. It's obvious that the Democrats are attempting to paint Kamala Harris as some kind of a change agent. And they are being very contradictory in their effort to do that. On the one hand, they're saying she's ready to be president because she's been vice president. On the other hand, they're saying, but she had nothing to do with the horrible policies over the last 3.5 years. So it's very interesting to watch her try to navigate this situation where she is responsible for the disaster on the border. She's responsible for the issues with the higher inflation. She's responsible for the war on our energy industries. And the higher crime rates that we're seeing throughout the country. At the same time, they want to say, "Oh no, this is a completely new generation of Democrats, and she's bringing in a new message with her." So I think if Donald Trump really focuses on policies, if he focuses on the issues that are important to the American people, again, what's happening with inflation, what is happening on the border, what is happening in terms of what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening in terms of domestic policy as well as foreign policy. I just really want to see him hammer in on policy and force her to answer questions.
I was speaking with a GOP strategist earlier today about the debate, and he was telling me this is a change election. Vice President Kamala Harris, as you suggested, is running as a change candidate, but she's currently serving as vice president of the current administration. Donald Trump he was voted out in 2020 for change. So how do you think he should position himself as that change candidate?
Well, what he needs to do is talk about how good things were when he was president. So the interesting part is that we have a record with Donald Trump. We know what he did. We know what he did in terms of unleashing our energy industry and making us energy independent for the first time in 70 years. We know what he did in terms of securing the border. We know what he did in terms of trying to force the NATO member countries to actually pony up money for their own defense. We know what Donald Trump's policies are, and the fact is that they made the world and the United States of America safer. And so what he needs to talk about in terms of his own policies is talking about unleashing our manufacturing industry, unleashing our energy industry, making sure that we are not adopting these radical rules and regulations that are hindering our ability to produce everything from food to cars to oil and gas to shoes to whatever it may be. So from the standpoint of him, I think what he needs to really talk about is what he has already done. They also want to paint him as being really radical. The only radical administration that we have is the current one. The Biden-Harris administration is incredibly radical on almost every single issue that is important to the American public. And he needs to point that out as well.